Today's video, we start with a hydration chart. Am I hydrated? Aim for clear urine at least 10 times a day. Eat a diet rich in fresh fruits and vegetables. Drink a quart of water before meals. Thank you.
Okay, so we are the Tour Down Under. Let me try and get some, I'm not getting too spotty lighting here. It's an old shirt from 2006, Humboldt Marathon, half marathon. Did it in the Redwoods. The Tour Down Under is coming up soon. We're talking January 2020. This video is relevant for any long ride you're going to do. But let's focus on the 2020 Tour Challenge, which is a fun ride they have generally on the Friday. I think it's the 24th of January 2020. And the Tour Down Under race is fantastic. Probably the best race in the world to watch, in my opinion. I've seen a lot of races in Europe. And for a spectator, Tour Down Under is number one for me because it starts and finishes at the same hotel every day. So, you know, all the stages are around Adelaide area. It's quite accessible for people to go around. So it's just fantastic like that. And on the Friday they did the fun ride. It's 162 kilometers, give or take. It's about 100 miles. And this year's one, it's sort of lumpy, nothing too hardcore. You're climbing up gorge roads. The main climb out of Adelaide starts at Norwood, finishes at Murray Bridge. The main climb is Gorge Road, which is very undulating. It's a very subtle climb. You're going to be fine with a compact crank set, a 34 in the front, a 32 at the back. It's not a hard climb at all. And I say that, you know, there is some hard climbs around Adelaide, some steep ones, but Gorge Road is very gradual. It's not a real brute of a climbing course, this one. It's quite up and down. It's going to be windy. I would say it'd be windy that time of year. It's going to be a lot of exposed roads. You're going to have headwinds at some point, and you'll have to have tailwinds because it goes east, then it goes north, then it goes south, then it goes a bit west, and then it goes east again, and then south. And so it's zigzagging all over the place. So you're going to have a lot of wind, will be your main ally and your main foe on that day. So if you're not used to riding in the winds, you'll be used to it on that day, because typically January you get some strong winds, easterlies, northerlies, south, west. It's just Adelaide, it's a windy place. That's what makes such good riders in Adelaide. So let's talk about nutrition. The biggest thing, right? The biggest thing is nutrition. Most people have done a long ride before. If you haven't, I'd recommend do a long ride before you jump into the challenge tour, just so you have a bit of experience. So when you do the challenge tour, it's not your first long ride ever. You know, it could be a really hot day, and it might not be an enjoyable experience if that's your first ever long ride. Is on a really hot day. All right, so just go out there and do some longer rides. Start with 50Ks, and then next week do a 60K, or start with a 10K this Sunday. Next Sunday do a 20K. Next Sunday do a 30K, and then add 10Ks every time until you're at the 160. All right, do it, and that's a great way to progress. Great for your tendons, your joint, your skin, everything, your shoulders, your neck. That's a great way to get more experience with cycling, and you're going to enjoy it a lot more. Every year I do the challenge tour, used to be called the breakaway tour, etc. I think it started in 2004, I think the first one was. And you know, every year you see people with rusty chains, the seats too low, and they're using this ride as a chance to get out and do something, which is fantastic. But I really do recommend do some homework first and do some training first. Just go out and do some adventure rides. You might be riding to work, you might be going up Mount Lofty a few times. Just get your skill set up, so on the day it's safer for you as well. It's also much more safer for you because you won't be as fatigued and pay attention. So do that. I'd recommend doing that. The 10K protocol, which I recommend. 10K next Sunday, 20 next Sunday, 30, 40. Then over 16 weeks, it's got such a natural progression curve. It's not a real shock to your system. You built some really good fitness, and you're going to have a much more enjoyable day. And you want to go do it again. All right? There's nothing worse than doing it and just hating it. And I've seen it every year. People just really, their face is so red, they didn't drink enough water, they're trying to do some low carb diet or whatever, so they run out of sugar, and then they crash their bike, or they just got no energy to get up the hills, and they just like, this sucks. And come on, you know, get the value out of your entry payment for it, and enjoy yourself. It should be an amazing day out there. Just stay hydrated, stay carbed up. So we got that. We've got the training progression, how to train for it. Add 10K every week. You know, simple as that. Start today, start tomorrow. And we're going to talk about hydration. That's a really important one on any day. Today is about 20 degrees. Hydration is not as important, but still important. But what if it goes up to 40 degrees or 30 degrees, which is probably typical for January? 30, 35 degrees can be expected, and sunny. And so you're going to chew through a lot of water, especially if it's windy as well. You're evaporating a lot of stuff. And so I recommend drink enough water so you're peeing every 2 to 3 hours. People, I don't want to go pee on a bike ride. That's the inconvenience. Well, that's essential for your health. You know, if you want to avoid stroke or heart attack or, you know, fatigue, dehydration, stay hydrated, people. All right, so drink enough water so you're peeing clear every 2 or 3 hours. And you're out in the country there. There's plenty of places you can pee behind the bushes. It's a farming area. It's all good, you know. Pull your bike over, have a pee on the side of the road behind the bushes, whatever. Good to go. And remember, whenever you pull over to the side of the road, let people know you're pulling over. Stopping, slowing, let people know. Communicate. Don't just like hit the brakes and pull over. You know, like whenever you go in and out of an aid station, let people know what you're doing. Left, right. You know, use your voice. Hand signals don't always work because someone might have their head down or be looking over like that, and they don't see you say, you know, you put your hand out. So use your voice. Left, right, just communicate. It's all good. And so hydration, every 2 or 3 hours, you want to be peeing clear. So that means you're going to drink at least a bottle or 2 bottles per hour, at least. All right? And so if you pay a GNT fee, you get access to support and the water there. So every aid station, I do recommend stop, fill up your bottles, go again. I would recommend, a good tip is you stop at the aid station, you drink, bang, bang, 2 bottles, just neck it. And as soon as it feels uncomfortable, just neck them, fill up your other 2 bottles in your bike, chuck them on your bike, and then keep moving. All right? A lot of people go to the aid station and they're sort of chit-chatting, and that's fine if you want to do that. But the clock's ticking, and the day's going to get hotter and windier. It's better to get some progress and maybe chat it and chill at the finish line. So I recommend go there, fill up your bottles, neck them, 1, 2. That's like 1.5 liters of water, so you'll feel it sloshing in your gut, but that's good. Your body will absorb that over the next hour or 2. And then, boom, same next aid station. You never want to be thirsty. If you're thirsty, it's bad for your dental health. You can get cavities because you no longer have enough saliva in there. So you get this is like really, really important tips. And I learned all these tips from cycling across Australia in the middle of summer, solo, you know, racing in Europe, or just, you know, done hundreds of bike races, cycled, you know, hundreds of thousands of kilometers all around the world. And these are things that are just the fundamentals of cycling. It's the hydration and the sugar. They're the number 2 things. Number 2 things. Number 1 and 2. they're A and B. That's number 1. Water, hydration to avoid a clot, a stroke, dehydration, cramping muscles, hydration. If you're pissing and peeing clear every 2 or 3 hours, you won't cramp. Impossible to cramp. Because you have enough blood plasma, enough hydration, your electrolytes will be good, you'll be good to go. All right. Next one is carbohydrate. You want to have at least 50 to 100 grams of sugar per hour. But, oh, no, not sugar. Sugar's bad. It's like, oh, man. Do we have to have that conversation, really? Every cell in the human body runs on glucose and or fructose. So if you don't get enough glucose or fructose, you're in the pain cave pretty quick. It's going to hurt more than it has to. Right? It's going to hurt more than it has to. You're going to get glucose exhausted. Your head will drop. Your attention will be wavering. Your chance of having a nasty crash or causing a crash goes right up. I've seen some horrific crashes in January, and most of them are due to people eating insufficient carbohydrate intake, getting a little bit dizzy, a little bit hypoglycemic, aka hitting the wall, aka bonking, and they're just like, oh, and then bang, they hit a wheel in front, or they're just tired and they drop their head. Carb up, people. So 50 to 100 grams per hour. You can have it. My favorite one, the cheapest one and the best one is, I'll fill this bottle with 100 grams of sugar per hour. So if I'm going out for 1 hour, 100 grams. If I'm going out for 2 hours, 200 grams. If I'm going out for 6 hours, this little bottle here is going to have 600 grams of sugar in it with water. And I give it a good shake, have a sip, and it's like a big gel without all the plastic and the extras. And it's so cheap. 600 grams of sugar, organic sugar I like, preferably. So it all works the same, but I like to support organic when I can. 600 grams of sugar, what's that cost? $1 something. $1 something. $1 for 160k. That's value. You know? And then I have 1 bottle of fresh water to rinse your mouth for oral hygiene, and just to rinse that down. So there you go. And then at the aid station or at the rainwater tank or wherever I'm at, buy a bottle of water, top it up again. So then you've got that gel, give it a good shake it, boom. And that's also safer if you're in the bunch or the pace line. It's safer than like fiddling behind here and you're like, oh, where's my gel? And you're like trying to like do that. All you do is you boom, give it a shake, boom, boom, back on 2 hands in the bars. It's that fast. I'm riding along, 2 hands, right, 20 minutes over having a little sugar hit, boom, shake it, boom, put it back in, hands on top. How quick's that? This is the gel technique. Oh no, crashing the guy in front. And then you're like, fiddling it, and you're like, you go, what's it? You're trying to choke on the plastic, and you're trying to. Like, what are we doing? Gels is like stupid, really. Gels are pointless. I mean, they're better than nothing for sure. I'll have a gel to avoid bonking, but sugar in the bottle is where it's at. There's less plastic, it's safer, it's easier. Sugar water. This is what the world's fastest runners ride on, sugar water. You know, you can buy it for $80 a kilo, or you can buy it for $1 a kilo from Coles. Simple as that. Sugar water. And electrolytes. Let's talk about electrolytes. In my opinion, in my experience, not my opinion, my experience-based opinion, cycling across Australia in December, solo, unsupported, electrolytes, in my opinion, you get that from your food. Right? I don't really feel the need to add it to my things, but if you want to have a bit of sports drink in your thing, go for it. But you're not cramping because you didn't have enough salt. If you're an Aussie, we get way more salt than we need mostly. Right? It ain't cramping, it's dehydration. It's dehydration. Right? So drink enough water so you're peeing clear every 2 to 3 hours. Another tip would be stimulants. A lot of people like are popping heaps of caffeine pills or Ritalin or whatever. I'm just being honest here. This video is whole about being honest and transparent. I don't recommend doing any stimulants if you're in a big bunch. It can make you all jittery, and you can easily not drink enough and not eat enough, which can make you really crash later on performance-wise. You're dehydrated, you run out of sugar, your glycogen's low, and you're crashing. And physically, you can crash on your bike as well because you like get all flustery and stuff. So I don't recommend using stims. I don't recommend doing that. I don't recommend using painkillers either. I know a lot of people like the ibuprofen and the paracetamol and the tramadol. These things on a hot day can be quite lethal to your kidneys. So I don't recommend doing painkillers. Also, if you've got an injury, it can mask that, and the injury can be a lot worse at the end of the ride because now you've abused your body, you've shunted the pain down with painkillers, and now you've got this injury that's way worse than it should be. So I don't recommend painkillers or stims. They have a place in certain times, but in fun rides, big rides, where you're riding with people you don't know, I don't recommend them. See, they cause a lot of crashes, especially things like tramadol, stuff like that. I don't recommend them. I don't rate them. Also, you're sort of a bit high, not really in the moment, you know, not really fully present. I recommend the natural way. You get a better, cleaner feel the next day. You get a cleaner sleep that night, and it just feels better, in my opinion, my experience. So the water and the sugar, there you go, that's the done. Also recommend getting a power meter, using a power meter, and power meter on most of my bikes. I don't really need a power meter as much these days because I really understand my body, how it works. But a power meter definitely helped me back in 2009 when I first used a power meter. It showed me how to pace better. And all the people I coach these days, I get them on power meter from the day one. If maybe they're 150 kilos, morbidly obese, I put them on power meter day one. And some people laugh at that, like, hey, this person's like obese, they've never ridden a bike before, you got a power meter on their bike? Like, they sort of smirk at that. And I'm like, well, I understand that, and that's why you don't get the results I do, because I'm open-minded and I don't follow the little rule book. I look at what's working. And if you give someone a power meter, all of a sudden they can have some numbers on their little screen on the front, the Garmin or the Brighton. My favorite unit is the Brighton 330, 36-hour battery life, super light, easy to use. So you got your little Brighton on your little computer on your handlebars there. We'll do some more videos about this. And then you got your power meter on your crank, just putting information, showing how much power you put out to the pedals. And so when you hit a climb, when you're going up Gorge Road, you can go, well, this is going to take me 6 to 8 hours today. There's no point in my power going over 150 or 200. So I'm just going to hold it back and then just cruise up this hill. You're going to get to the top of the hill going, wow, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And you're just pacing it. It's like if you've got to do a 5K race or 1K time trial, there's no point sprinting that first 100 meters because you're going to produce more lactic acid, more hydrogen ions. That's going to make your muscles get all like that pain, that shutdown. So you want to have it even the whole way. So if you can hold 150 watts for 6 hours, then that's what you should be climbing Gorge Road at. All right, that's what you should be doing at. Otherwise, you know, you just got to burn your glycogen stores real quick. You're going to have a lot of lactic acid in your system. You're not really going to enjoy it. And if it's really, really hot, you're going to dehydrate yourself a lot faster. So get a power meter, and your average power for the ride is going to be between 100 watts if you're an entry-level rider, super lightweight, or super lightweight, maybe 50 kilos. 100 watts is still pretty impressive. Or you might be 300 watts if you're a professional rider. The pros will probably average about 300 watts, and the average weight's maybe around 70 kilos. Most pros average around 70, 71 kilos, give or take. So they're going to be averaging about 4.5 watts per kilo. So if you're doing 300 watts at the start of Gorge Road, you can be, hang on, am I trying to win today's stage, or am I just trying to complete it? So the power meter is like the game changer. It's the game changer. It's really, really important to have a power meter, so you can just hold the watts. So many noobs, they hit a hill and they just spike it and they sprinting up the hill, and then they get their heart rate right up and their lactic acid right up, and they're like, oh, I'm not really enjoying this. It's like when I'm doing 2 down under or any sort of ride, I'm constant the whole time. Unless maybe I'm racing with mates and I want to just drop them on the hill, but that's me. That's different. I understand my experience level a lot more. But if I was going for a time trial, let's say I had to do it as a time trial, then I would definitely hold my watts the whole way. If I'm going with some mates and we're just trying to drop some people and we'll hit a climb really hard, then over the top, and then just chill out. But if I was doing it as a solo time trial, I would have the even watts from the first 5k to the last 5k, just holding that 250 watts I could probably hold for 5 hours or whatever. So that's what I'd be doing at about 60, 70 kilos, 65, 70 kilos. So these are magic tips that not many people really know about. But these are the tips that I get people going really good in cycling. When you see people I've coached over the years, the progression is very, very fast. And the reason why it's so fast is we use the water, we use the sugar, we use the power meters, and we also use early nights as well. It's huge. And we also, when it comes to painkillers and stimulants, which are very popular in all sports today, for many reasons, they're performance enhancing in most situations. I don't really recommend people use those unless they're quite advanced along their path of fitness. And even then, I don't recommend them other than maybe a few times a year, because they can just create a lot of health issues or dependency or accidents or whatever. So I don't really recommend them. I'll be honest with you, the best rides I've ever had, the ones I've remembered the most, is when I've taken nothing, no caffeine, no stims, nothing at all, no painkillers, and I've just dealt with the emotions that I get served that day, right? And just, you really feel it naturally. They're the best rides I've ever had. And they're just the ones where you bite off more than you can chew, and you can keep chewing. So that's my tip there. That's where the best emotions are, is when you just do not feel full, pure, you're hydrated, you're carved up, you got that fresh air vibe going on, you're pacing yourself to perfection, you got your eyes up the road, you're communicating with other riders around you. It's almost like a semi-spiritual experience, right? And you cross the line, you're not really exhausted, you're not super fresh, but you've worked really hard, but you're not dehydrated, you're not super hungry. So when you see your family at the end, you want to hang out with them. You're like, you're not like cranky or yeah. That's the worst thing. You don't want to get to the finish line and be dehydrated, and your kids run up to you and you're like, oh, get away from me for a second. Like, you want to be feeling good at the finish line. You want to feel a bit of exhaustion, but still mentally sane. All right? You're going to feel a little bit, of course, but you don't want to have that really big drops in energy from running out of carbohydrate, or the big drop in hydration levels where your legs are cramping up, your mood's really cranky, your face is all red. When your face is red, that's dehydration situation. So we want to avoid that. Dehydration nation. Carb up. Clear urine every 2 or 3 hours. You can disagree with me, but you should be wrong. This is the template that works. We'll do some more in-depth videos. That's 18 minutes there. If you have any questions about it, hit me up down below. We'll see you out there in January. It's going to be another fantastic year for it. Peace.